Hi, my name is Penny, and I'm interviewing.
Stewart.
And what's your job title?
Well, in the real world, I'm a middle school history teacher, but my interesting job is I'm a college football referee at the Division One level.
And which division do you work for?
I work in the ACC, the Atlantic Coast Conference.
How long have you been doing this career?
Uh, 29 years, but high school football for several years, and then Division Three, and then Division Two, and then FCS, and this will be my ninth season in the ACC coming up.
What did you think your career would be in high school? Did you know what you wanted to do at that point?
Nope. Had a million different ideas. Had no idea. Certainly didn't think about officiating. I did think about teaching a little bit in high school, but not about officiating.
How is your initial vision of your future career different today?
It's a whole lot more work than I thought it would be. We don't drop out of the sky on Saturday and referee the game and go home. There's a tremendous amount of work during the week and in the off season, scrimmages, rules tests, film to review, grades that we have to review because we do get graded on every game. Constant communication, especially now with email, with our supervisor. It's a year-round job, although you only see us on TV from September to December or January.
What is the pathway that brought you to where you are in your career today?
When I graduated from college, I couldn't find a job right off, and saw a little blurb in the newspaper for the local high school officials clinic, which was going to be on that week that I was reading the paper. And I thought this might be something interesting to go and check out, maybe do temporarily until I find a real job, and ended up loving it. And here I am all these years later, still doing it.
What education was needed for the position you hold today, and what additional training was or is needed along the way?
Well, no degree or anything, but you're constantly required to do, I guess the best way to say it is in service. We have a lot of camps, clinics, meetings. You meet locally with other officials to study rules. You have camps and clinics you have to go to. Obviously, that's slowed down a lot in the past year. We have our annual big clinic prior to the season. It's pretty much constant working on a rules test or watching film year round.
So, what's your position and job duties?
I'm the referee on the crew. That means I wear the white hat. So I'm the one guy out of 8 on the field with a white hat. So I'm kind of the manager, for lack of a better term. My boss would be the CEO of the company. That's not what his actual title is, but if you compared it to the private sector, he would be the CEO, and I would be the manager of one of the stores, basically. So I'm the manager of this 10-person crew, 8 of us on the field and 2 in the replay booth. And obviously I call fouls, but that's not all that referees do. There's a lot involved in it. Managing the game, managing the clock, managing the emotions, dealing with the coaches. There's just so much. Like I said, our in-service is year-round. So, and it's always about something else. It's not like we go to these rules meetings or camps or clinics and just talk about fouls. Obviously, we have to talk about that. We have to look at stuff on film and recognize it when we see it on the field. But there's just so much more to managing a Division I football game than calling fouls or seeing actions and saying that's not a foul. There's a lot to it.
What type of technology, machines, tools, or equipment do you use?
Well, on the field, we use what's called an O2O system, official-to-official communication system. So if you've ever seen a little microphone on the official's ear, the earpiece is in the ear and the microphone around to the mouth. We talk to each other throughout the game. I also talk to the replay booth throughout the game. Then, of course, there's the technology on the sidelines where I have to communicate with the replay booth when there's actual stoppage in the game for a replay review. obviously computers and cell phones. I also use a voice recorder on the field because there's a lot of things that I have to note to put on my game report. And I don't always have time to, I do have a card that I have to write certain things down on. But there's very little time sometimes to write down something I need to write down if there's not a stoppage in the game. For example, let's say 5:02 in the first quarter, the right tackle does something that looks like holding maybe, but I passed on it. I didn't call it because either it was away from the point of attack, or maybe it wasn't big enough. Maybe there was not enough restriction, or he didn't stop the defender from his advance toward the quarterback, and so I don't call it. Well, my boss expects that to be in my game report. When he watches the film and sees this action, he expects me to have an explanation on the game report for why I didn't call it. So I just whip out my voice recorder and record 5:02 first quarter, passed on offensive holding number 72 for Clemson, and why. And that way I've got that after the game to type into the game report.
What's your likes and dislikes about your position?
Likes, it's fun. There is a lot of work involved, but I've got friends all over the country now, that people I would have never known if I wasn't officiating. I like running the game. I was a high school football player, never played in college, but being on the football field with the best athletes in the country every Saturday for about 3 hours, a little more, is lots of fun. Dislikes is the biggest dislike is something I used to like when I started it, and that's the travel. When I first started, it was cool to go to places I'd never been to before and have somebody else pay for it, and go to Miami or Boston, or I've been as far west as Phoenix to work a game, and somebody else paying for it, and that was a lot of fun. But now that's kind of a drag. Every Friday having to either leave work early or take a personal day, and get on a plane and go or drive somewhere, and have a meeting with my crew on Friday night, so I can't really talk to my family during that. Then Saturday's very busy from the time we wake up until the time the game's over. We have duties, we have meetings on game day morning, and then we have to be at the the stadium 3 hours prior to the game, and we have duties there, and then the game lasts 3 to 3.5 hours, and then we have paperwork and things to do after the game, and now it's late at night on Saturday night, and I've had very little contact with my family Friday or Saturday, and now I'm going to bed because I always take the earliest flight home, so I can at least get home to my family for most of Sunday. And so the travel, while it started out being very fun, has become kind of a drag. It's still a fun job, but that's the part I really have started to dislike.
Okay, well, I guess the next question is kind of obvious, but do you work mostly with people, things, or ideas?
Well, people. And there's a lot of ideas involved. The rule book's cut and dry, but there's philosophies and things like that we follow. So there's certainly ideas that get bounced around. I've spent some of this afternoon communicating with officials about philosophies and ideas, so mostly people, but ideas as well.
So if you were in a position to hire people to be ACC college football officials, what are you looking for in someone you would hire?
Well, first of all, you got to have thick skin, because people don't like what you do. If you're a football fan, every time there's a flag down against the team you like, you don't like it. And I was the same way before I became an official, and I'm an Atlanta Braves baseball fan, and I'm the same way when I see an umpire make a call against the Braves that I think might not be correct. I get upset, because fan is short for fanatic for a reason. And so you got to have thick skin. You got to be in decent shape, because you got to run up and down the football field for 3.5 hours with the best athletes in America. You got to have a strong work ethic, because, like I said, you can't just drop out of the sky on Saturday and work a game. You got to put the time in all throughout the year with the rules and film study and camps and clinics. So, that's the main three things: work ethic, fitness level, thick skin, and the ability to concentrate, because you got to concentrate for those 7-second bursts, all throughout the game for 3.5 hours.
So, how do you use class content in your job? Is there Any aspect of class content that you can apply to your job?
Lesson planning, because I on Friday nights with my crew I run the meeting, and it's basically a class. That's what it is. So I have to plan that lesson. I can't walk in there on Friday night and not have a lesson plan. I have to go in knowing what I'm going to do and how I'm going to manage. Usually it's the same guys every week, but classroom management comes into play, especially when you have a couple of visitors maybe on the crew because somebody on your crew is sick or couldn't work a certain game for whatever reason, or the supervisor had to switch a crewmate out to another game. So yeah, I have to manage those people. And trust me, it's managing a classroom, but I also have to plan lessons for that week so that my crew, just like teaching school, so that my crew can learn from what we did wrong the previous week, get better, and do it right this time.
Can you directly relate math, English, foreign language, or anything of the subject matter into your career?
Probably not foreign language, but math as far as penalty enforcement goes. Anytime you take a rules test, you got to be able to put the answer down as far as what the next yard line is going to be, and you got to be able to count the yard lines, and you might think that's easy, but when you go across the 50-yard line, it's not so easy because you count up, then you count backwards. So a little bit of math, a lot of language arts, because you got to read the rule book and you got to understand the rule book, and you got to constantly take written rules tests. So a lot of language arts, a lot of spoken language, because just like I'm talking a lot right now, and my job requires me to talk a lot to a lot of people.
So is there a way that you could help us answer the age-old question, why do I need to know this?
Well, I think it's important, if you're a football fan, to know that the officials work so hard to do it. Announcers have gotten better about understanding what we do and being good to us on the field or on TV on Saturday, but they still sometimes try, criticize, and that's okay because they get paid to talk. That's what they do, and they get paid to get people to watch and keep people interested. So that's fine. But I like that some of them have taken an interest in us and try to educate people about how we do things. Because I think it's important. I think it's important to know that sometimes you hear people talk about how we need full-time officials. Well, we are. Trust me. Ask my wife; she'll tell you. I have a full-time job teaching, and I have a full-time job officiating. And I think it's important for people to know that we don't work 3 or 4 hours a week on it. We work year-round, many hours a day on it.
Well, thank you, Stuart, for your time. Is there anything else that you would like to add?
Not at all. Thank you.